ELON! Musk surprises black millionaire in group of 19 and reveals hidden truth. The California coast shimmered under a setting sun, waves crashing softly against jagged cliffs. Pine trees swayed, filling the air with a sharp, fresh scent. Inside the glass-walled lounge of the sprawling retreat, 19 people circled in muted excitement. The room buzzed with nervous energy because tonight, something no one expected was about to explode. Marcus, the billionaire at the center, sat tense, fingers tapping on the polished wood. His skin gleamed under the warm lights, every muscle tight with a mix of pride and dread. This wasn't just any gathering. It was a summit for the future. Tech innovations that could change humanity forever. But underneath the calm exterior, Marcus wrestled with a storm inside. The weight of fame, his past struggles growing up in tough neighborhoods, the constant fight to prove he belonged, pressed on him like a heavy cloak. Suddenly, the huge sliding doors burst open. The tech giant's presence hit like a thunderclap. Unexpected, electric. Whispers fluttered through the room. Some froze, jaws dropping. Others exchanged quick glances, charged with suspicion. Elon's piercing eyes scanned the group like he carried a secret bullet waiting to fire. "Marcus," Elon said, voice cutting through the thick tension. "We need to talk. Now." Marcus's chest tightened. That smug investor across the room, Luke, smirked. Luke was cool, calculating. A rival who saw Elon's arrival as a chance to strike, his cold stare boring holes into Marcus as if daring him to break. The ocean breeze seeped in, the scent of pine mixed with salty air, the only calm in the storm swirling inside those walls. People whispered in corners. Did you hear about Marcus's past? What Elon might know? Eyes darted nervously between the two men like sparks waiting to ignite. Marcus's heart pounded violently against his ribs, like a trapped animal clawing for escape. Doubt crept in. Would this blow tear down everything he built? His hands trembled as he fought the urge to run, not away from the cliffside estate, but from his own shadows. Elon moved closer, voice low but fierce. "There's a truth you've hidden, Marcus. One that'll change everything here. We have to decide. Do we run from it or face what's coming?" The room fell deadly quiet. Faces frozen mid-expression. Even the ocean seemed to hush. Waves stilled like spectators holding their breath. Luke leaned in, eyes glinting. "This chaos?" "We see the chaos in the big picture." Doubt creeps in. Then suddenly tears roll down his face. "Well then, that's Luke's plan. Not to sacrifice it. Prince, didai matarla yete hoy. It's my moment. The stakes just got real. Who's left standing after the fire burns through?" Marcus blinked away, the sting in his eyes. Around him, alliances flickered. Friendships cracked like snapping twigs underfoot. Unknown motives bled through polite chatter, hidden agendas rising like poison. And then the first crack showed. Someone whispered, loud enough for many to catch, "What if the truth about Marcus changes the game forever? What if it ruins him?" Marcus swallowed hard, trapped between two worlds. Should he shatter the delicate glass of trust with the secrets no one expected? Or keep the darkness tucked away to shield those he cared for? That night, the ocean watched, and the retreat waited, holding its breath for the truth. What horrors or hopes will the dawn bring? Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like. That really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The room pulsed with a heavy silence. Marcus stood at the center of the storm, facing Elon, heart racing. What truth could shake this fragile balance? He searched the faces around him, friends, rivals, all frozen in anticipation. The air crackled with tension, like before a thunderstorm. Marcus, listen to me. Elon's voice lowered, fierce but urgent. This isn't just about you. It's about everything we stand for. What did that mean? Nerves twisted in Marcus's gut. He felt the weight of the room pressing down. Just as the waves crashed against the cliffs outside, he opened his mouth to respond, to defend himself. But no words came. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath their feet, sending a ripple of shock through the room. A deafening roar followed, drowning out any thought. The glass walls of the lounge quaked, rattling like maracas in a storm. A blinding light filled the room, washing over everything. Marcus shielded his eyes, heart pounding louder than ever. A moment later, the lights flickered, plunging the space into darkness. Gasps echoed in the pitch black. The silence felt too heavy, like they were all holding their breath. Then came the explosion. A deafening crash shattered the calm. Fragments of glass splintered around them, filling the air with sharp shards. "Marcus!" someone screamed. The sound sliced through the haze, grounding him in reality. As the tumult subsided, the first slivers of light returned. Marcus blinked through the haze. He felt dazed, like the world around him was moving too fast. He looked around, fingers trembling as he searched the wreckage of what had been a promising evening. And then he saw it, the commotion, not just outside, but inside. People scrambling, fear painted on their faces. Someone was down. It was Luke, sprawled on the floor. Blood pooled around him, a dark stain on the polished wood. "Get back!" shouted one of the guests, nudging others away from the horror unfolding. Panic surged again like a wave, crashing inside the room. "Call an ambulance!" Marcus shouted, voice hoarse. He dropped to his knees, fingers fumbling over Luke's shocked expression. In that moment, the room shifted. Conversaciones halten, gaspos ecoen como distante thunder. "Sisá", alguien murmuró, voces ver más arriba del susto. La verdad trajo sobre ellos como un ala. Marcus sentía pulso, un pensamiento se lanzó como hallazgo de rayo. Gaspeta, el exprecho se modificó de urgente a inmutado. What did Elon know? Then amidst the chaos, a figure recognized. Talia, his old friend, now an influential tech developer. She stepped forward, eyes wide, breathless. Marcus, she panted, heart racing. You have to understand, it's bigger than you realize. There's a reason this happened, a reason why this is all tied to you. She swallowed hard, glancing back at the crowd, uncertain. The atmosphere thickened with secrets, shadows creeping back in. Marcus's mind raced. What secrets? What did she mean? Luke stirred, a gurgled breath escaping his lips. But Marcus couldn't focus on that. Talia's words knocked against his skull like an echoing drum. The ocean crashed outside, waves hammering against the cliffs, a soundtrack to the chaos within. He could sense the tide shifting, pulling them into deeper waters. Was everything he had built about to crumble? One truth hung heavy in the air, waiting to break. What horrors lurked beneath? And as Luke gasped again, Marcus knew the night was far from over. The room held its breath, waiting for Marcus to answer. He felt the weight of their gazes like stones pressing against his chest. Time seemed to stretch, every second a heartbeat echoing in his ears. He opened his mouth to respond, but words tangled in his throat. Suddenly, a loud crash shattered the quiet. The glass wall behind Elon imploded, shards exploding outward like glimmering rain. Gasps filled the air as people ducked and shielded themselves from the flying shards. Panic surged, punctured only by the sound of a high-pitched scream that cut through the chaos. Everyone's eyes darted to the source. An armored figure emerged from the shadows, wearing a mask that glinted menacingly in the fading light. The intruder raised a gun, finger hovering over the trigger, eyes scanning the room like a hawk. "Nobody move! This is a robbery!" the figure shouted, voice muffled but filled with authority. Elon instinctively stepped back, hands raised in surrender. But Marcus felt a surge of determination. This wasn't just a robbery. It was an attack that could expose everything he feared. Memories flashed through his mind, intense and vivid. His childhood, the gang violence, the things he thought he had left behind creeping back like fog. "Wait!" Marcus shouted, his voice rising above the panic. He took a step forward. "You don't have to do this!" The masked figure turned towards him, eyes narrowing. "Shut up! Just give me what I came for!" Marcus glanced around the room, trying to gauge the reactions. Shock gripped everyone. Luke stood frozen, mouth agape, while others edged toward the far wall as though it could protect them. The tension snapped as Marcus felt the weight of the truth looming over him. He caught a glimpse of his past etched on Elon's face, something shared, something intimate. One truth buried under layers of success and reputation. "Stop! I know what you want!" Marcus demanded. The figure hesitated, glancing at the door as if considering escape. "Marcus," Elon murmured, eyes wide. "No!" Marcus shot back, heartbeat racing. "This isn't just about money or fame. This is..." But before he could finish, a second figure burst in, equally armored and poised. In their gloved hands were photographs, fanned out like cards. They spread them like digital debris on the floor. The images splashed vibrant colors against the polished wood. Corrupt deals, dark pasts, and for Marcus, memories he had buried deep that could drag him back into a life of chaos. The air hung thick with disbelief. A murmur rippled through the group. Voices mixed into a cacophony of confusion and anger. Shocked faces filled the dimly lit room. This wasn't just fear. It was revelation. "How could you?" Luke exclaimed, expression twisted with betrayal. "You lied to all of us!" The masked figure held up a photo, sharp and vivid. "I knew, and now all of you will too." Tension silenced the room as eyes swung back to Marcus. He felt the weight of his secrets crashing down like waves. The truth was about to be laid bare, every hidden fragment threatening to fracture the image he had so carefully crafted. "Please," he whispered, heart pounding, "this isn't just about me." But it was too late. The dawn loomed with secrets. The ocean beyond roared as if in warning. The stakes had shifted, and within those walls, alliances began to crumble and hope faded like the last light of day. What would they uncover next? Would it shatter everything he had built? Would friends become foes? The truth was coming, faster than he could brace for. And the retreat? It was no longer a sanctuary. It had become a battleground. The room was all chaos. Shattered glass glimmered like fallen stars on the floor. The air was thick with fear, with tension. Marcus's heart raced. The masked figure stood there, gun raised. But everything began to fade as he felt the weight of the truth pressing down on him. Luke groaned on the floor, blood pooling beneath him. Marcus could barely think. Then everything changed. The sound of sirens pierced through the panic, distant at first, but growing louder. The intruder's eyes flickered, uncertainty flashing across their face. "This isn't over!" they shouted, backing toward the window, the gun still aimed at Marcus. He felt every eye in the room glued to him, searching for answers. "Wait!" Marcus yelled. "You don't have to do this!" But just as he spoke, another distraction caught the intruder's attention. Outside, a flash. Lights illuminating the gathering storm clouds above. But this was different. It was a drone, hovering, its camera lens glinting. Before anyone could react, the drone's speakers blared. "Marcus! You can't hide. We know everything!" The voice was mechanical but sharp. The masked figure fell still, caught in fear. "What is happening?" Marcus's voice trembled. Every eye turned to him, sharp and questioning. Talia gasped, horror spread across her features. "What do they mean? Who is we?" I don't know," Marcus stammered. Panic clawed at his throat. "This can't be." The masked figure seized the moment, still backing away. "Get back!" they yelled again, demeanor shuddering, a grimace of shock crossing their masked face. "Marcus, you're going to pay for this!" Screams erupted as the drone began to descend, its lights flickering like warnings. "This isn't just about your past, Marcus. You've stirred something far beyond you, and your secrets are about to be your downfall." Then it happened. A sudden boom echoed. The drone exploded, a burst of light swallowing the lounge in a flash of chaos. The room erupted in screams. Debris rained down, and Marcus hit the floor, covering his head. When the dust settled, everything had changed. The masked figure was gone, and the world felt like it had tipped. An eerie silence filled the space where chaos had surged just moments before. People were in shock, eyes wide, breaths shallow. Is Luke okay? Someone whispered, dread wrapping around the words. Marcus lifted his head, scanning the room. Then he noticed something on the floor. One of the photographs slipped from the chaos, splayed open like a dark secret. It showed something shocking, a connection to someone in the room. Suddenly, the glances around him shifted, accusatory eyes glinting with betrayal. "I knew it! You were behind all this!" Luke's voice sputtered, proving he was still alive. He was groggy, trying to lift himself. Marcus couldn't breathe. Each face around him twisted in revelation, their expressions morphing into something unrecognizable. "This is your fault!" someone shouted. "No!" he shouted back, desperation clawing at him. "I didn't!" "Marcus, what have you done?" Talia stepped forward, a storm brewing in her gaze. "What truth have you hidden? You're dragging us all into this." A realization dawned, burning through the chaos. This wasn't just about him anymore. He'd become the epicenter of a storm that threatened everyone he cared for. Marcus locked eyes with Talia, her accusation deep and piercing. Everything began to swirl. Who was friend? Who was foe? He took a deep breath, chest tight. "I have to tell you all the truth," he stuttered, voice barely rising above the silence that had followed the chaos. But as he began to speak, another explosion erupted outside, shaking the very foundation of the retreat. What had he awakened? What horrors lay ahead? Would he finally reveal his hidden truth, or was everything spiraling out of his control? The dawn had come, and with it, a reckoning that would change everything. The room hung thick with tension, a suffocating bubble of uncertainty, as everyone waited. Marcus felt the eyes on him, probing. Doubt twisted his stomach. Elon's words echoed, filling the air with a weight he couldn't shake. And then, right in the heart of that silence, a sudden crash shattered everything. The massive glass door suddenly burst open again, this time being flung aside with such force that it rattled the frames. A figure stumbled in, breathless, wild-eyed. It was Karen, Marcus's closest friend from the early days, the one who had stood by him through thick and thin. But tonight, she looked unrecognizable, hair disheveled, clothes askew, panic written all over her face. "Marcus!" she shouted, voice breaking. "You need to know! Shut it, Karen! Not now!" Luke hissed, his voice slicing through the room like a knife. But the words flew past her, unable to land. Karen pressed forward, desperation etched deep in her features. "It's the investors. They're planning something. Something big. I overheard them talking. They want to bring you down." Gasps rippled across the room. The chill of fear settled on Marcus's skin. His knees felt weak as he processed her words. The stakes were higher than he ever imagined. Elon stepped closer, expression shifting from fury to urgency. "What do you mean, bring him down? Who?" Karen's eyes darted, gathering strength to continue. "It's worse. They think they can expose his past. His family." Her voice broke, but she swallowed hard, pushing on. "About the deal with your dad, the debts he left behind." Marcus's heart sank. Like a lead weight, panic shot through him. His breath hitched in his throat, memories flooding back. Months spent running from that life, hiding from mistakes that never should have defined him. Would this be the end? No. A murmur swept the room. People leaned in, expressions shifting from material curiosity to shocked realization. The hidden truth was clawing its way up, threatening to spill out in a heartbeat. Luke grinned, feeding off the chaos. This changes everything, Marcus. You've been playing with fire, and it looks like you're about to get burned. Stop, Elon commanded, eyes fierce. We need to get to the bottom of this, now. But Karen wasn't done. And it's not just that, Marcus. They've got proof. They've seen your past. The loan applications, the failed businesses. The room erupted into outrage. How could they? Someone gasped. Is this true, Marcus? Every accusation shot like arrows towards him, and that weight turned leaden in his chest. Betrayal surged through the circle of once supportive faces. Friends were now ravenous wolves, eyes glinting with hidden judgments. Then came a low rumble, quiet at first. Outside, thunder cracked, startling everyone. The ominous clouds rolled in, blackening the retreat. The scent of rain mixed with the salty air, a fitting backdrop for the storm brewing inside. Marcus. Karen's eyes pleaded, searching his face. You have to come clean. You have to before they do. Desperation clawed at him, heart racing wildly. Was he ready to face the tidal wave of truth? Inside, shadows squirmed, refusing to let him be free. And there it was, a beat of silence before the collective breath of the group. The ocean roared in the distance. Just then, a phone buzzed to life on the table, breaking the anxious quiet. Everyone turned to see Luke's smirk widen. He held the device like a trophy, glancing at the screen before fixing his gaze on Marcus. Looks like the news just broke, my friend. The world's about to find out. Shock rippled through the group. An instant, frozen moment. What waited on the other side of that call? Hope felt like ashes in Marcus's mouth. In the shadows of uncertainty, the retreat tightened its grip. What would happen next? The air was thick with tension, every eye on Marcus and Elon. The moment stretched, fragile as a spider's thread. Marcus's mind raced, trapped in a storm, mouth dry. Luke's smirk twisted his gut. Elon leaned in closer, voice steady but urgent. It's not just about you, Marcus. There are lives at stake. What do you mean? Marcus's voice cracked, echoing in the silence. Panic surged through him. He had built his empire on hard work, on turning his life around. But what hidden truths could unravel it? Before Elon could respond, the glass wall behind them shattered, raining down shards like icicles. The room erupted into chaos. A scream pierced through the air, followed by the thunderous roar of a motorcycle engine. All heads turned toward the source of the noise. A man in a leather jacket stormed in, wild-eyed and breathing hard. Marcus recognized him instantly. It was Tyrone, his childhood friend, the one who had disappeared years ago. Nobody knew what had happened to him. Rumors of a life lost in darkness surrounded his name. Tyrone! Marcus's voice broke through the commotion, filled with disbelief. Memories flooded back, laughter, fights, dreams of escape. But his joy quickly faded when he saw the water pooling in Tyrone's eyes. Marcus, we don't have time, Tyrone shouted, lunging forward. It's about the money, the deal you made. What deal? A voice from the crowd asked, sharp and accusing. The tension shifted, eyes darting from Marcus to Tyrone like quicksilver. "The one that wasn't yours to make!" Tyrone cried, desperation turning his voice raw. "You think you're the only one who fought to get out? You didn't do it alone!" Marcus recoiled, confusion mixing with dread. "What are you talking about?" "They've been watching you," Tyrone pressed on, breathless. "Some of them are in this room. They were waiting for you to slip, waiting to take everything." Marcus felt the ground shift beneath him. The foundations. Tyrone took a deep breath, eyes flaring. "I tried to protect you, but they're closing in. They want everything you've built, everything you stole." The room fell silent. The world narrowed to just the four of them. Marcus, Tyrone, ELON, and the lurking shadows of betrayal around the edges. The truth was a knife, sharp and glimmering, ready to plunge into the heart of Marcus's empire. But as Tyrone stepped closer, shuddering with emotion, a sudden crash echoed from outside. A blinding light turned the night into day. Gasps mingled with confusion. What was happening? Was it rescue or the end? Marcus's chest tightened with fear and determination. He needed answers, not just about himself, but about everyone standing there, about the betrayal creeping into every corner. The dawn was fast approaching. Then, without warning, the sliding doors blew open with a deafening crash, leaving the group staring into an empty night. Then came the shouts, voices screaming outside. Panic skittered through the room. Marcus glanced at Luke, who wore gleeful anticipation. "This is your fault, Marcus," Luke taunted, enjoying the chaos blossoming from the shadows. "I didn't do this," Marcus shot back, but doubt laced his voice. The room spiraled into disarray, whispers darting around like startled birds, each person wrestling with their own fear. What was happening? ELON stepped back, scanning the skyline. "We're not safe here. We need to leave now." His command sliced through the disarray, but someone stomped forward. "Might be time to come clean, Marcus." He was a woman from the group, Jade, usually reserved but now furious, her voice crackling like lightning. "You can't keep hiding. Whatever it is, it's coming for you." Everyone turned to Marcus, the weight of their gazes overwhelming. Faces shifted from fear to judgment. What had they all missed? In that charged moment, Marcus's heart felt like a drum in his chest, his hands clenched at his sides. How could he tell them? Every small secret felt like a damning revelation. Before he could respond, a loud crash echoed from deep within the house, an ominous sound that felt alive, creeping into their bones. The floor shook again, harder now. A low growl roared, not from outside, but within the building, as if it were a living entity. From the dark hallway emerged a figure, tall and shrouded in shadows. The energy shifted, cold and raw. "It's time to face the truth, Marcus," the figure intoned, voice hauntingly familiar. Marcus froze as recognition hit him like icy water. It was a face he had thought was lost to time, a ghost from his past, someone he had buried deep within the clean image he'd constructed. No, it can't be. His breath caught, eyes widening in horror. "Surprised to see me?" the figure quipped, stepping into the light. Gasps filled the room. It was Naomi, a childhood friend, thought dead for years. "You wanted to forget, but you can't run from your past." Gasps filled the room, confusion and disbelief weaving through their ranks. Luke's smirk faltered, replaced with shock. The air crackled. Whispers exploded. "How could you? What is this?" someone shrieked. A chill swept through Marcus, knocking the breath from his chest. How did she get here? And why now? Questions ricocheted wildly, but all Marcus could fixate on was Naomi's gaze, which held the pain of every shared memory, every regret. With the reality of her presence, everything shifted. Marcus felt his life unravel. The truth he had hidden, his childhood, the decisions that followed, were crashing back like waves against those cliffs. The calm facade was shattered. Outside, the chaos murmured like a distant storm. But inside, the truth loomed closer, threatening to engulf them all. What was supposed to be a night of revelation now teetered on the edge of disaster. For Marcus, the dawn held no promise, only shadows of what was about to unfold. What would Naomi reveal? And could Marcus survive the fallout of the truth that had returned to haunt him? The room held its breath, waiting for the next revelation that could tear them apart. Marcus's heart raced as Naomi stepped into the light. Her presence felt like a ghost from the past. Memories flooding back like tidal waves. Each second stretched, every heartbeat drumming with dread. "What do you want?" he managed, his voice trembling. Naomi's gaze pierced through the chaos. "You think you can just erase me from your life?" Her tone was sharp, anger simmering beneath the surface. "You left us behind. I tried to reach out, but you cut ties. Now your secrets are back to haunt you." "Secrets?" someone echoed. It was Jade, eyes wide. "What secrets?" Tension crackled like static electricity, a charged atmosphere that swirled thick with confusion. Marcus felt the walls closing in, the room vibrating with nervous energy. Outside, wind howled, rattling the remnants of the glass walls. "I didn't mean to," Marcus started, but Naomi cut him off. "You didn't mean to? Is that what you tell yourself?" "You're not the only one with a past, Marcus. I've lived through the consequences of your choices, and now they're here, ready to engulf us." Each word was sharp, cutting through the noise, aiming straight for Marcus's heart. "Enough!" Elon's voice boomed above the growing noise. But it was too late. The air was heavy with accusation. "We're past the blaming game here." Suddenly, outside the shattered door, an explosion lit up the night sky. A massive fireball ignited, spilling yellow and orange fury like lava. Everyone recoiled in horror, eyes darting to the chaos outside. A gas station nearby had erupted, flames licking the sky, casting eerie shadows across the terrified faces. "Run!" someone screamed, panic surging outward. In a flurry, everyone began to move. Marcus felt a sharp shove from behind, and he stumbled forward, narrowly avoiding a collision with Talia, who was frantically trying to help Luke, still on the floor, bloodied and dazed. His heart bled for her, but the moment felt surreal, every second stretching impossibly long. "Marcus!" Tyrone's voice cut through the chaos. "We can't just leave! You need to face this!" "Face what?" he roared back, overwhelmed. "I'm already buried in it!" But just then, the ground shook violently, the intense rumble reverberating through the air. The storm wasn't just outside, it was inside, too. The light around them flickered, disorienting like a neon dream, before the darkness swallowed them whole. An eerie calm fell, a momentary stillness that felt wrong. And then, in the silence, Naomi stepped closer, grabbing Marcus's arm, holding him firm. "You're not the man I knew then. You became someone else," she whispered, the storm of emotion swirling between them, igniting past memories like kindling. "Stop! Just stop!" Marcus's voice twisted in anguish. "You don't understand." But as she opened her mouth, ready to reveal whatever truth bubbled beneath the turmoil, a thunderous crash shattered the moment. The remaining glass wall imploded outward, and a figure wrapped in shadows lunged through, noise echoing with guttural intensity. Everyone froze as adrenaline overwhelmed them. The intruder swung wildly, brandishing a weapon. Multiple faces ran pale, breaths caught in throats. "Where's the file, Marcus?" Their voice barked, distorted through a mask. The question hit like a bullet, reverberating through the hearts of everyone in the room. "What file?" "Stop!" Marcus yelled, pushing past Naomi, suddenly feeling powerful and weak in the same breath. He locked eyes with the masked figure. Fear swirled within him, but so did a fierce instinct to protect his truth, protect everything he had. "Answer me," the masked figure demanded, stepping closer, no fear in their stance. But Naomi stepped forward, defiance in her eyes. "You'll never take that from him!" Those words spun in the air, ricocheting against the walls. Suddenly, everything changed. Bonds snapped. As the ground trembled beneath them, he understood in a flash. Naomi wasn't just a ghost. She held a key that could change everything. "In the file," Naomi started, voice low but filled with fire, "lies everything you should have known about your father, our father." The room erupted in chaos once more, every person gasping in disbelief. Shock radiated through, faces dropping as betrayal shrouded everything. Marcus froze, unable to comprehend what she was saying. The truth seemed too big to grasp. "Your father?" Luke said incredulously, eyes wide. "What are you saying?" The masked figure dropped their weapon, stunned. Silence fell. It enfolded them, warm and terrifying. Where would this lead? What had been unleashed? Intrigued, terrified, Marcus met everyone's gaze, heart pounding like thunder in his ears. The dawn was rising, but for Marcus, the shadows were still deep. The truth was close. Pain was imminent, and they were all caught in the storm, spinning uncontrollably toward a fate they couldn't escape. The room hummed with confusion, breaths held in tense anticipation. Everyone's eyes glued to Marcus and Naomi. The truth was a live wire between them, crackling with unresolved tension. It felt like the world was about to burst open around them. "What do you mean, our father?" Luke's voice sliced through the chaos, the question hanging heavy, impossible to ignore. Naomi held Marcus's gaze. There was anger, sadness, and a desperation that pulled at Marcus's heart. "I thought you knew. I thought you chose to forget, that you didn't want to face it." "Face what?" someone asked. But Marcus was too caught up in the storm brewing inside him. The disruption was swift. The masked figure, still looming near the entrance, gathered momentum with a frown, ignoring the commotion. "Enough!" The command was sharp, clipped. Where is it, Marcus? Where is what? The question burst from him, frustration flooding his tone, every muscle in his body taut with anticipation. Suddenly, the air shifted. Another rumble echoed outside, deeper this time, a sound that felt alive. The light flickered again, shadows dancing madly across the walls. It wasn't just another explosion. This was something else. Then, chaos erupted. The door collapsed inwards, sending dust swirling through the room. Emerging from the shadows was a figure cloaked in dark attire, confidence radiating like a powerful wave. The person stepped in and paused, surveying the room, eyes glinting with a predatory calm, scanning the faces filled with disbelief. "Enough," they pronounced again, a harsh voice imbued with an authority that demanded attention. Marcus felt his stomach drop as eyes snapped to the new arrival. Recognition hit like a freight train. "No, it can't be. This is all futile," the intruder said, their words echoing through the tense atmosphere. It was an exclamation punctuated by the smirk that played on their lips, cool as ice. "The truth is out, Marcus, and it's about time everyone knows." The revelation hit hard, leaving behind a chilling silence. Everyone seemed to recoil. The atmosphere thickened, a smokescreen of dread enveloping the room. "What do you mean?" Marcus stammered, his voice barely rising above a whisper. The masked figure stepped closer, elbowing through the crowd as disbelief morphed into anxiety. "You thought you could keep it buried? All those lies, the manipulation?" Well, they turned to the crowd, their gaze now penetrating, drawing them into a web of tangled truths. "It's all out there now. Your past is the least of your worries. This changes everything." And just as the realization began to sink in, a series of high-pitched beeps erupted from Marcus. "They're coming for you, Marcus. All of it is laid out for them to see." Luke's expression shifted from disbelief to horror, glancing from the screen back to Marcus. "You've been lying to us?" "No!" The word rumbled from Marcus's chest, desperation enveloping him. "I didn't know! I thought I could—" The masked figure stepped forward as an explosion of emotion swept through the room. Accusations and confusion mingling into panic. "This isn't just about you. It never was." Suddenly, the screen displayed footage of Marcus's past, childhood friends, unsavory dealings tied to his name, framed in fragments, unforgiving and damning. His secrets unspooled before everyone's eyes, and gasps filled the room like the sound of a storm breaking. In the midst of the gathering storm, Naomi's face turned pale as she stumbled back, shaking her head in disbelief. "Marcus, you knew." Her words hung in the air like a suffocating fog. Marcus remembered the warmth, the laughter of past camaraderie, but now it felt like a distant memory fraying at the edges. "We all have our secrets, don't we?" the figure sneered, drawing a collective gasp from the room. And then, without warning, the lights flickered out, plunging them into darkness. Silence blasted through the chaos, hearts pounding like drums in the void. In that moment, everything changed. The previous allegiances began to dissolve. Truths unspooled into chaos. The darkness gripped them like a vice. Who was friend? Who was foe in this silent storm? A cry pierced the dark from somewhere beyond. But before anyone could react, the power returned, flooding the room with harsh light, only to reveal the aftermath of the confrontation. Marcus stared into the eyes of the shadows that once offered comfort, and in there, only doubt stared back. What awaited them now? The pieces were scattered. The only thing certain was uncertainty. And in that messy web, Marcus could only hold on tightly to hope as dawn loomed just out of reach. The stunned silence lingered heavy in the room, each breath punctuated by uncertainty. Naomi's presence ignited memories and truths long buried, and now they were all on fire. Marcus felt the heat rise, anxiety coursing through him, tightening his chest. This was it, the moment to confront everything that had haunted him. "Why didn't you come for me sooner?" he asked Naomi, his voice low, trembling on the edges of despair. "Because I thought I could protect you," she replied, tears welling in her eyes. "But secrets can only stay hidden for so long. And your past? It's about to catch up with all of us." The gravity of her words felt like an anchor, pulling everyone down. The intruder stepped closer, dark energy swirling around them like an impending storm. "This ends now, or all of you will pay the price." Marcus stepped forward, heart racing. "No more hiding. Yes, I made mistakes. Yes, I ran. But I'm not that person anymore. We can face this together." His voice rose, filled with desperation and a flicker of hope. Shock rippled through the room. The crowd held its breath, caught between fear and unity. Luke sharpened his gaze, whispering to himself, "Is this how it all ends?" But the masked figure shook their head, moving with a snake-like hover. "You think they care about your redemption? They want control, Marcus, and you're their target." Panic surged again, screams echoing as the lights flickered ominously. Marcus turned to Naomi, urgency igniting his pulse. "We need to expose the truth. They can't hold this over us if we own it. Together, we'll take the power back." As whispers of agreement floated among the group, that split second united them. "You're right," Talia chimed in, her voice gathering strength. "But we have to act now." Outside, sirens wailed, approaching rapidly. A rush of air burst through the door. They were running out of time. The masked figure lunged forward, a flash of menace in their eyes. "You will not take away my leverage." But just as they moved, a group of officers stormed in. "Hands in the air!" they barked, confusion breaking through the tension like a crack of thunder. The intruder froze, surprise twisting their face. In a frenzy, Marcus felt a wave of relief mixed with incredulity. "You're too late," the intruder hissed before bolting for the door. But it was too late. The officers surged forward, apprehending the intruder and pulling off the mask. Underneath, a face he recognized, one he thought he'd left behind. "You?" His voice thundered, disbelief cutting through the chaos. Outside, lights from the police cars flickered against the together. There was a newfound understanding as they locked eyes, each nodding with resolve. Naomi stepped closer, hand on his arm. "No more secrets. We're in this together." "Together," he echoed, heart swelling not just with hope, but with unity. As they made their way out into the night, the dawn began to break, spilling light across the horizon. Shadows faded, revealing a pathway forward. They weren't just survivors. They were warriors, rising against their pasts. But as they gathered outside, watching the sun peek over the hills, Marcus felt a flicker of doubt creep in. What else was out there? What stories had yet to unfold? They had faced this storm, but there were more waves on the horizon. Amid the chatter of excitement spilling into the morning light, he felt the urgency to keep moving, to keep pushing for truth. Then it happened. The winds shifted. The air thickened with new tension, and Marcus scanned the horizon, a knot forming in his stomach. The dawn might be bright, but shadows lingered, whispering secrets left unturned. And as thoughts whirled in his mind, he understood one thing. It was far from over. Now, friends, it's time for you to act. Subscribe immediately so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories that'll keep you on the edge. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and dive deeper into this unfolding saga. Flood the comments with your thoughts and theories. Let's ignite the discussion. And don't wait even a second longer to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this ending. Your support means everything, and only true fans